guys, welcome to our textual analysis assignment on the song All Falls Down by Kanye West. The song opens up with the chorus, Oh, when it all falls down. Here, Kanye is reminding us that the materialistic possessions could all vanish. All the physical items that we use for self-gratification are temporary. He begins to go to the first verse and says, Man, I promise she's so self-conscious. Here he's answering the perspective of a woman, also of the female character, who's also having troubles with being self-conscious, being a college student. This linking towards the fact that this song is a part of his college dropout album, so it makes reference to the confusion of college students and the struggles that they're going through. He then continues to tell her story that she has no idea what she's doing in college, and the major that she majored in doesn't make any money. He makes reference to the fact that college students pick majors that don't often make money in their fields, and she's very confused about what she's doing. However, he says that she won't drop out because her parents will look at her funny due to the pressures of society to obtain a degree and the scrutiny that her parents will make her go through. Once again, being a clear example that she's worried about the perspective of other people, making reference and clearly linking towards the first line, she's so self-conscious. He then begins to emphasize the fact that being self-conscious about her decision makes her insecure, and the concept of school seems so secure. He refers to the illusion that in society, school always seems as a secure path. However, the path of education isn't always the only path of success or the path that many individuals choose to take to be successful. He uses this illusion to emphasize the fact that school is not the only route. He then continues to tell her story as she says, she like, fuck it, I'll just stay down here and do hair. Because that's enough money to buy her a new pair of ears. Here we can see the end rhyme between the words hair and new airs. Airs being Air Force Ones, which are popular shoes around that era, and classical shoes worn to this day. Being Air Force Ones, which are popular shoes around that era, and classical shoes worn to this day. He emphasizes the fact that she decides to drop out of school and stay where she's from just to do hair, not to benefit herself or invest in herself, but invest in materialistic items. He talks about her social skills and she says that she's so precious with peer pressure, referring to the fact that she's easily persuaded. We could also see the technique of alliteration between precious with peer pressure. And alliteration emphasizes the point that he's making and also makes the story and song more memorable for the audience. He continues to talk about consumerism as she says she couldn't afford a car, so she named her daughter Alexis. Here it may seem like a simple phrase, but it's actually a play on words. Alexis being the brand of a car, and also her daughter's name is Alexis, A space Lexus, the luxury car. So now she can say that she owns a luxury item. Here we can see the transition into Kanye's perspective of why he's so self-conscious. As he mentions in the first line, man, I promise I'm so self-conscious. That's why you always see me with at least one of my watches. He then explains that when he walks out into public, he always has to wear luxury items because he's so self-conscious about the perception that people have of him. Saying that Rollies and Porsches then drove me crazy, which explicitly says that basically, the luxury items have been playing with his mental state as he's constantly thinking about how he can fit into society whilst wearing materialistic things. He then continues to say that I can't even pronounce nothing past Versace, that I spent $400 on this. Initially, in the other analyzation, he spelled Versace as VER-SAY-SEE. He uses the mispronunciation and the technique of a hyphen to break down the spelling of the word Versace and says that he's wearing these luxury items and he doesn't even know how to pronounce them. He then says, just to be like nigga, you ain't up on this. Meaning that he's buying these expensive items just to put another person down based on capitalistic views. And he explicitly uses the word nigga which is a reference in the Black community and also known as a racial slur, which could be direct personal appeal to the type of people he's directing the song to. He then goes on to talk about a daily action that many of us do, such as going to the grocery store. He says that he can't even go to the grocery store without some ones that's clean and a shirt with the team. Being Ones being colloquial for the Air Force Ones that were mentioned previously, and its shirt with the team also being a style that was popular back then to wear a team shirt. So he comes up with the illusion of an action of a regular person and feels pressured to even be well dressed to the grocery store to be accepted. He then uses another analogy as he says, it seems we live in the American dream. American dream being the opportunity to achieve success. So he's saying that the way that we dress appears to be that we're living the American dream, having success and being successful. However, that's not the case. It's simply an illusion, and the materialistic things are simply a cover up to make us feel like we're being successful in society when we're really not. He then uses contrast with, as he says, but the people highest up got the lowest self-esteem. So it's contrast and irony, and then he continues to use this technique as he says, the prettiest people do the ugliest things. So he uses contrast so that the audience could see the differences between different people. And ironically, you would think that the people highest up, because they have so many materialistic things, they would have a high self-esteem. However, in reality, they really don't, because they're only buying these items to fit into society and fill a void that materialistic things can't fill. He then continues to say, for the road to riches and diamond rings. We shine because they hate us, floss because they degrade us. He then begins to use the technique of direct personal appeal once again as he uses the word we. He then uses colloquial language as he says floss because they degrade us. Floss being a slang for flaunting or being bougie simply because you feel degraded, you feel as if that you have to show off with everything that you have because you're not respected in society. My favorite part of this was the fact that he used a historical allusion. As he says, we're trying to buy back our 40 acres. This makes reference to the fact that 40 acres and a mule was a compensation made to freed African Americans after the Civil War. He says, and for that paper, look how low we stoop. So then he begins to talk about the fact that we do so many things that are unlike our character just to get money. Even if you in a Benz, you still a nigga in a coupe. And then you can see that he has two different spellings of the word coupe. So it's a double entendre. Coop, C-O-O-P, meaning that you're confined to internalized racism, materialism, and the mindset of more. And coupe also being the literal definition, coupe being the type of car, so referring to the luxury items. So I also liked how he used that technique. He allowed the audience to think of it both ways. You could think of it as if you're a coupe by the mindset that you have, this small-mindedness, and coupe being the luxury car. Once again, he ends his verse and his perspective with the chorus, or when it all falls down. Here we're entering the final verses of the song, and Kanye continues to tell his perspective. He says, I say fuck the police, that's how I treat them. The first line is reference to a song by a popular 90s group called Niggas with Attitude. We buy our way out of jail, but we can't buy our freedom. Once again, Kanye is using direct personal appeal to his audience and unifying diction that suggests that the phrase appeals to a certain specific audience. At the ending part of the phrase, but we can't buy our freedom, he then again uses direct personal appeal. He suggests that a wealthy person can buy your way out of jail, but you're not free from the mentality and consumerism that you're conforming to. We'll buy a lot of clothes when we don't really need them. Once again, he's explicitly stating the actions that we do and how we're victims of consumerism by buying things that we don't really need. Things we buy to cover up what's inside. He then uses the technique of hyperbole that says we buy material items to live a lifestyle that we don't really live by, because they make us hate ourselves and love their wealth. So once again, you could see that purposefully, Kanye used the incorrect spelling of the word ourselves and wealth just to have the technique of the end rhyme of ourself and wealth. This line suggests that America makes African Americans feel inferior, making them hate themselves. But however, when they're successful, America loves the wealth that they're producing. That's why Shorty's hollering where the ballers at. Once again, you could see that he uses the male perspective and says that these material items would mostly attract females because they would see that the young man is a baller. They'd see the young man is successful because of the things that he's wearing. Drug dealer by Jordan's crackhead by crack. This slide shows economic wealth, the cycle of how drug dealers wear the Jordan brand, feeding off of the addiction of crack addicts, only to end up in the power of the white man, by Jordan's crackhead by crack. It's also the technique of rhythm, and it also suggests that both of these people, although the drug dealer is not an addict, he's also an addict to materialistic things. So both of them are satisfying an addiction. Drug dealer by Jordan's crackhead by crack. And a white man get paid off of all of that, suggesting that at the end of the day, the money only goes to one spot. But I ain't even gonna act holier than thou. Here's a biblical allusion that he's not gonna act like he's some godly figure or perfect. He shares the same flaws and struggles. We can see this by the way in which he wrote the line holier than thou, which is very similar to the text that's written in the Bible. Cause fuck it, I went Jacob with 25 thou before I had a house, and I do it again. He then explicitly states his bad habits and bad way of prioritizing as he spent $25,000 in a store without even having a house to lay in, and he'd do it again. So as he states he'd do it again, he's emphasizing the fact that it's an addiction, it's a cycle that he can't escape. Because I want to be on 106 in Park pushing a Benz. I want to act ballerific like it's all terrific. So you can see that he's continuing to use the technique of end rhyme with the words ballerific and terrific, suggesting that he's buying these material items just to look like he's successful, even though he is, but just to look successful, like he has his life together, like it's all terrific. So he's emphasizing the fact that we buy materialistic items just to make it seem that our life is going fine, when in actuality, all of us are going through struggles and issues in our lives, but we just have these items to cover it up. I got a couple past due bills, I won't get specific. I got a problem with spending before I get it. So once again, he's emphasizing the fact that he doesn't have the right priorities. He mentioned it before when he was talking about the fact that he spent $25,000 and didn't have a house. And now he mentions it again, that he has a couple past due bills, but he won't get specific. However, he's going to continue spending money. We all self-conscious, I'm just the first to admit it. So here he's saying that we are all self-conscious about the things that we have, the way that we look, and the way that we are perceived by society. However, he created this song because it's a societal flaw that we often ignore, and he's just the first to admit it explicitly.